Good evening, Jamie Finn here from On the Ball Team Building. We are on episode 6 of An Inside View. Tonight we have Barry John Keane, the former Kerry footballer and current player with Kerins O'Rahillys. He's coming on to have a chat with us about his career and about what he's up to at the moment. He played 37 times for Kerry, 37 championship appearances, 34 of them came from off the bench, and he scored a total of 237. And in most of those appearances, he only had less than 10 minutes to make an impact, so that's quite remarkable. I believe he scored in around 267 in league appearances, but we can run that by him when he joins us. Let's see if he come in here now. Should be on now in a minute.
Okay, mate.
Barry John, how are things? How are you keeping?
Bye. How things?
Good. How are you surviving lockdown?
I'm fine, boy. Tipping away.
How are you keeping fit? Are you doing a few runs, or are you still doing a bit of some gym work at home, or how are you adapting to that?
Yeah, doing a bit there with the club. Like we got step program and changes every few weeks, I suppose, and we just keep to that. And I've a bit of a gym at home, so tip away at that. But I won't get bogged down too much on doing because we don't know when we're going back. Like so, I say maintaining more than anything really.
Yeah, I suppose on that point, how are you keeping your mind focused? I suppose with the uncertainty out there, we're saying it could be July and then the championship. Of course, the All Ireland series mightn't be until October. But how are you? From a club player perspective, how are you keeping yourself motivated as such? Because it can be quite difficult day in day out when there's so much uncertainty there.
Yeah, true. But I suppose it's been here a while now, so there's no point being negative about it anymore. You probably have to put it in your favour. So, like the same as any club player and county player, I think there's massive time for improvement in skills, skill set. Look, I know teams and players are probably running, but like I think most fellas, if they put in the effort all year or have a base through the last few years, when you get the guidance there that okay, at 4 or 5 weeks we're running into the championship of club or county, I think you'll be able to get back up your fitness as quick. So maybe fundamentals is probably a big thing for even young fellas up to senior players. I think just everyone has to improve on something, and I think it's a great time to just be tipping away at it now, and we won't know till they let us know, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose, I suppose, your own opinion on this, do you reckon it'll push some lads into retirement, or will it have an opposite effect on them?
And there's pros and cons, I suppose, to that.
Yeah,
The older fellas, I suppose, from certain teams, I suppose, maybe said, look, we'll give it one more year. Um, why would they be given one more year? Maybe the body is breaking down a bit easier. Maybe just gave a good lash at it. I think this will refresh some fellas, where
yeah,
some fellas have
true.
niggles. They can repair them now, get the rehab done, and be bursting to go. Or else some fellas might just say, look, I've at home the last 2 months. Family time is actually nicer than clogging up in the winter. Like maybe I'll just pull the plug. So time will tell, I suppose.
True, perfect. And how do you find training on your own? How's that going? I know there's a lot of, let's say, club players and county players are, they're doing a lot of training via Zoom. How are you doing with that?
Uh,
Or would you prefer training on your own overall usually?
well, collectively, we do a few Zoom sessions ourselves with the club, which they're good. They're more crack and morale more than anything. Like you just put in the effort, whatever you put into, you get out of it. But I don't mind training on myself, like tipping away. Like only up to a few years ago, fellas were probably doing the gym by themselves. It's only got
True,
serious in the last few years where they're going collectively. Like so, I've been around the whole, so I'm kind of used to that as well. So it's not too bad. Not too bad.
perfect. And I suppose, look, I suppose before we go back to the early days, what's your feel about playing games behind closed doors, whether it be county or club?
Sorry, there's someone rang the phone.
You throw it on the airplane mode there, maybe. What's your feel on, we say, perfect.
You have me?
We're back now again, are we?
That airplane mode turned off the phone.
But look, it'll stop the calls coming in. But look, what's your feel on playing games behind closed doors?
I'm
Marking on spot there now.
I'm for it and against it, I suppose, in ways. I've been there as a player, and now I'm there as a supporter. So, like, over the years, we've played a lot of in-house games, and they're very flat, like, as in the A versus B games. Like, I know when you're on the field, you can block out everything. You don't hear as much when you're in Croke Park. It's 85, 82,000, whatever. You don't hear it in a way. But I still think for what the players put into it, that I just think you live off our adrenaline as well, like the good and the bad, the boos, the cheers. A crowd can change a game with a score, you know. So I think for someone, if I was still playing, I'd probably prefer like wait till the crowds maybe come back because it's only fair and the attendance as well, like and everything. But as a player, then you probably would play with no attendance there, like you'd be bursting to go. But then you'll have to have like a fella's going to play like. Every fella's in a different circumstance at home. If someone has asthma or someone sick, like you know, so it's up to them then, isn't it?
Yeah, true. It really just depends. It's a very difficult situation. I suppose, look, moving on to that, we'll go back to the early years, the golden years, I suppose, as you might say. You started off obviously playing O'Rahillys underage, and I suppose what kind of brought you down that route playing football? Was it through, I suppose, were you always inspired by your grandfather? Naturally, you probably were.
Yeah, no, he would have passed away when I was only about 8 or 9. Like so, when you get to about 13 or 14, you kind of tune into like what surroundings you have, what background
Yeah.
you have, like, and all my uncles would have played Kerry minor, like so. I kind of had them over me, and I suppose I'd mom then filling me in on her father, like so. I was always into it, and probably I'd no other choice. You'd be always going down to the club field anyway, and it's the same case today, like it's the same
Just
thing.
yeah, just how it happened. So just
Mm.
natural progression into it. And were you on any development squads before you hit the minors?
Yeah, I would have played say in 2004 under 14 North Kerry.
All the way up,
Then I
yeah.
played, yeah, then under 16s and then minors.
The
Never went to
minors,
H anyone.
and then we say before the minors, you had the Hogan Cup with the Green,
Yeah,
and
so we the Hogan Cup in 2000 and was it six
seven,
or seven? Seven.
seven, yeah,
Yeah,
seven.
so yeah, we played OMA CVS who would for some reason they get a year they can play the under 18 and a half grade. And at the time, I think we only had like 3 or 4 players that were actual minors. The rest of us were only 15 and 16. So
Jesus.
on the day, the football was probably the talent wise was probably equal, but they were just a bit stronger, more physical. To be looking back, like
Yeah, I suppose it must have been obviously great experience at that age, just to kind of get first taste of what you can achieve if you keep going the
yeah,
way
it
you
was
are going.
massive. Yeah, it was massive at the time because like looking back, it was probably one of the best things I ever did. Like, cause I was never going to play with all them fellas again. From like, it was a big pick of a school, a lot of clubs. I say we 30 plus numbers. Training was unbelievable, and it was a massive run like for the school. And even we won the Carnival. So the first time since I think '99. Like, we were only
Yeah.
15 going into like I don't know, it was the Grand Hotel, and the teachers were celebrating. It was sure it was all new to us. We were loving it like as it was.
I suppose when you look back at this, you kind of really truly appreciate it. Then, like, it was obviously great at the time. And then we
Mm.
say moving on to that. Then I suppose did that success. I know you all lost the final, but did that we say achievement kind of springboard you onto the minors, or were you always was it going to be a natural progression?
Uh, yeah, at the time, so the 2007 when we won the Carnival and lost to Hogan, I was a year out. It was my bad year minor, so it was the following year that I was a minor. and we actually lost
Oh.
to the Sem, who would have had the likes of Sean Fitzgerald, James O'Donoghue, Jonathan Lyne. So we lost. We were leading the whole game, and James turned it on. Then they beat us in the end. So they actually went on to play the Home Cup final as well, and they lost. So not
Oh.
sure who, but that following year they lost. So that was our minor team. So like there was fierce competition. Like we won the Munster after a replay against Tip, and we met Mayo then in Croke Park, and both teams, I think, to be honest, performed poorly, and they beat us well in the replay. Looking back at that, we had a lot of fellas that probably went down to senior level. You would have had in goals, I suppose, Brian Kelly, who's the current keeper inside now. You would have Sean Fitzgerald, Jonathan Lyne, Peter Crowley.
Paul Ganey, wasn't he there? Paul
Yeah,
Ganey and
our forwards were a bit stacked. Myself, Paul Ganey, James O'Donoghue, Barry John Welch, and Dahi Casey. So I
Jesus.
think looking back, I had this chat. I think Mayo on the day only Aidan O'Shea and I think Rob Henley were the only two that carried on for Mayo at the seniors.
Jeez, that's interesting. Oh yeah, Jesus. And I suppose then moving on from that, then did you go up to the under 21s, or how were you fixed after that?
So that was 2008, and then 2009. I suppose I was only still 18, and we won the club championship with the club, but I think South Kerry maybe won or Field Rangers won in 2009, so we got to represent Munster as a club, and we went on
Oh
a good
yeah.
run with Jack O'Connor to a Munster final. So I suppose that year to probably I really kind of got into weights, and I had time to improve on skills and stuff, and I just had a good campaign. And there was some McGrath Cup game, and he called me, and I did well. And then I still wasn't in with the 21, so I actually played senior before 21. I played a
Jeez.
National League game against Dublin, was my debut at 19, and then like I know the choice they had to call me into 21s then.
See, that's interesting.
Yeah,
No, I never knew that. Yeah, I
yeah,
couldn't figure out where you under 21 at all. Yeah, so you were senior. You played one senior game in McGrath Cup before you got into
yeah.
21s.
So
And
two
how did
years,
you
so
get
we
on that
won
year?
then.
Oh, 2 years.
The 2 years we lost to Munster finals. We beat Cork in or Cork in a Munster quarter final the first year in 2010, which they were stacked. They were favourites for the All Ireland, and we gave an awful hosing, about 12 or 13 points. And unfortunately, then we got caught to Tipperary
Oh yeah.
in the final. And then the following year, we went down to Cork, and we got an awful hosing, about 27 points, I say.
Jesus,
So
Jesus. But
underage player.
the underage, yeah. But I suppose look, there are all those wounds, kind of help you going forward. And you you came onto the senior team then in 2010 against Tiff. You want to tell
Yeah.
us about that, or was that the Munster
Yeah.
Championship?
Munster semi-final. Yeah. I suppose I had a good league campaign. I came on, and I think the second game after the 21s or before the 21 actually, the 21 campaign, and I came on against Cork and I kicked I think 4 points. So we went back to 21s and I had a good campaign, and I thought I was just I was happy to just where I was there and then. And I remember our campaign finished and we had a game versus Monaghan, and Kerry were after only winning the All Ireland the year before, but they were in a relegation battle against Monaghan. And I
Oh yeah.
remember I just got a call saying, look, will you tag out? And I think I was the only one from the 21, so I was like, yeah, no problem. And I remember Gooch got a poke in the eye about 10 minutes in, and he
Oh.
called me, and I was kind of like, wasn't ready at all. I didn't think I'd be getting a run at all. But I ended up playing well enough, so that was the start of it really, and kind of just gave me a platform to get to the championship panel, and got a call up then against Tip to come on for about 20 minutes, so that was nice. I think I was just going 20.
Geez, yeah. So again, I suppose look to you took your opportunity with both hands. Then going on to that, I suppose look, Kerry didn't really, they were kind of unfortunate in 2011, 2012, losing to Dublin in the final. Would that been your first All Ireland final?
Yeah, 2011 was the first final. Yeah, that was a good run. Now, to be fair, we played Limerick, a good win against Limerick. Then Mayo in the semi-final, Cullen was ridiculous, and then Dublin in the final, the one that got away, as they say.
The one that got away, yeah, yeah. Was that when Cluxon scored the free? Was that one, or
They
was
did,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
2011,
Um,
yeah.
2011. And then moving on, we say 2012, then we lost in the quarter final. And again, what was that, we say, campaign like for you?
So the 2012 was the back door. I didn't see much game time. Maybe played one game out of the 3 games, and then the Donegal one. I suppose they deserved to win on the day, but they got a bit of luck. But I suppose sport, you need that bit of luck. Was it Colin McFadden had a sideline, he kicked it in and skidded into the top corner.
Oh yeah.
And we made a good drive the last 10 minutes, but I'll just never forget. We were down a point, and there was one kick out, one play left really, and Carlacey just got tipped down to a nice break, and he ran the field and kicked it over. And I just said that day, I go, these could go on and win it, and they did. And Carlacey got Player of the Year, so that was that year.
Jeez, yeah, Donegal were flying. Then that was Jimmy Guinness was over them. They wanted his after coming in maybe a year before it. I suppose in 2013, a change of management. You played 2-3 league games, and then you were gone off the panel.
Yeah, so Eamon came in and just got a text that I wasn't part of the plans at the start of the year, and I said I asked him to meet up, so I just met up with him and put it out there, and we went back and forth, and he just said, look, I'm going to keep with what I said at the start, and I said fine. So I just went away and did a bit myself back with the club. And McGrath Cup game, I think, came then, and he asked me, look, we're starting a few numbers, would you like to come in? And I said, yeah, no problem. And had a good McGrath Cup campaign, we won it, and so we were trying out a lot of new fellas. Even though I was still 22, they were trying out a lot of, say, new fellas, and after that 2012, they rested a lot of the senior players, so it was nearly a new team altogether. And we were, I think the first 3 games we got destroyed in the 3 games, and I didn't think we were even scoring that much, and it's just unfortunate I was there and I wasn't probably performing and putting too much pressure on myself, even though fellas who were getting the first chance were probably older than me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to enjoy it, and I don't know, look, at the time I was sickened when I got the phone call saying, look, you're not part of the plans, whatever, but looking back, it was probably the best thing that happened to me in my career, to be honest.
And I suppose in that moment, obviously you were down and upset, and which is natural. Like, and I suppose you got the opportunity then to go to Boston for a year. Do you feel that kind of helped your form?
Yeah. Well, like to be honest, I wasn't hoping I was dropped, but I needed something to refresh things, like, and I was trying different things, but. Looking back, that was the only thing that would have helped. Like, and I remember the day I got the phone call, right, the first 10 minutes, I was like, fuck him in or whatever. Like, but no, the weight off the shoulders. Then is the weight off the shoulders, and I seen where he was coming from, and I respect him. Looking back to this day, because I wasn't probably entitled to be still there, and just got an opportunity to go to Boston that I always wanted to do. And one of my good friends from home who lives in Boston told me that I want to come over and play. And just got it set up then and went away for 10 weeks.
And how do you get on that campaign? Did you win it that year?
No, I was with Davy Shannon Blues, so we got to the semi-final and we drew after extra time, and we played the following Tuesday, that was a Sunday, and I think they beat us by a few points, and then they went on to the final and lost the final. But that year there was a lot of good players that are still around today. For us, Dara Tracy, he'd be midfield for Limerick. He was with us. You had a Colin McHugh from Roscommon. He's not with them anymore. But then you had the 2 Smiths, Enda Smith and Donny Smith, Roscommon, and you had Damien Comer, Mihal Lundy, and you had Perky from Galway as well. He's an All-Star last year, so that was a bit of talent there that year, 2013. That was.
And what was the training? Was the training like? Was it handy enough, or was it very, very difficult over there? I suppose the heat and it didn't really help the situation.
No, our first game. I remember that after about 10 minutes, I asked him to take me off. I didn't know what was happening. My man told me you can come off, like, but there'll be no work or nothing for next week. So I had to stay on. But you get used to it. It's warm. And after a few training sessions, then you're fine. But the trainings were a bit old school and a bit military, like, and the fields could be, one field's here and the other goals could be up the other side, like, we'd be running up a hill to get the ball, like. But looking back, it was good now, to be fair.
Do you think it was something you needed at the time to bring you on and maybe to open your eyes or something?
Yeah, I suppose I needed to mature a bit. Looking back, I probably went in, like, I'd never say I went in too young, But it did mature me, and I got probably my confidence back. And I was looking forward to coming back playing. No, I didn't think I was going to be brought back in again. Like, I just went back to the club, and luckily enough, we won the county league. Like, and I performed that day and just got a second chance.
But yeah, I was actually just to go on that point now. Then I suppose you came back and you were obviously regenerised and rejuvenated, and you came into the O'Rahillys panel. Then was there many games left, or what was the structure? Then did you?
So we came back, and I think we were in a championship quarter final. We won that, and then we lost to Crokes in the semi final, and then we won 3 finals after that. We won the county league final, and then the 2 like town 4 district one and another town league one as well too. So I got a bit of confidence from that in the winter football, and then the McGrath Cup was only around the corner. It was probably only 2 months away, like, so I just got that call up, and I actually, after I got dropped, I gave up the drink for about, I don't know, a year and a half, and
jeez.
So that when he told me what was the body, I didn't have a sup in a while, so it wasn't too bad.
Jeez, and it was supposed to be in 2014 was a kind of remarkable year for Kerry. Went to All Ireland, and that was I beat Donegal in the final. That was the same game. Donaghy scored the remarkable goal, wasn't it? And he fist pumped it into the hill. That was the game, wasn't it?
Yeah. 2014 was a bit of a roller coaster, to be fair. Galway, it was actually funny enough, the following year after Boston, we played Galway, and I don't know, I said we were doing fine, and then Eamon called me on about 20 minutes to go, and we were up 4, and he was like, look, just plug away there, get a few scores, whatever. And then Lundy, who I was in Boston with the year before, stuck a goal, and it was game on. Like, I was coming on saying I'll tip away here, but then it was like he just to go anywhere. And I came on then, and we kicked a few points, but it was funny, Comer came on then, and I don't know, the play stopped, and we just had a kind of a little chirp with each other messing. But it was funny, a year before we were out in Boston, the 3 of us together playing against each other, and then a year later, like, things can happen. You're in Pro Park together in All Ireland quarter final.
It's weird how things happen. Yeah, and who do you play in the semi final then after that? Can you remember?
The semi final then was Mayo. So we probably 2 days we probably robbed them, to be fair, looking back.
Oh yeah, that was the replay in Limerick, wasn't it? Is that it?
Yeah. So Kieran came on and saved us the first day, and then the second day was extra time, and
yeah, I remember that. Yeah. It's crazy. Look, I suppose it ended very well in 14. I suppose just before we go on to that point again, did you ever feel that, I suppose, look, every player has a role in a team? Do you think your role was an impact sub, and were you happy with that, or did people ever say that to you before?
I suppose it was probably after 2014. I kind of realised, like, I only came on in all the games to, like, say 2010, 11, 12, and 13, and I started a few league games or whatever. And then 14, I suppose, it really kicked off where I came on and was getting scores and maybe not changing games, but adding to something at the end, like. And probably from 14 to 18, then I kind of just, I don't know that I accept. I could have thrown the ties out of the top, but I just said, look, all right, the forwards in front of me were Declan O'Sullivan, Darren O'Sullivan, Kieran Donaghy, Colin Cooper, and then it went on to Paul Ganey, James Donoghue, David Clifford. So, like, I kind of just said, right, I can make it my own role here for myself. If he only wants to give me 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, I need to put in 60 minutes into that. Whether if it's getting fouled, getting frees, scoring, assisting, I need to do it. And maybe just I made my own kind of plays, I suppose. And then you probably look on the outside and you see, look, Ken McMenamin couldn't get in, but Bernard Brogan need to get before them and all them. And he was making maybe a role as well. So I kind of said, if he's trying to do that for Dublin, why can't I just do that for Kerry and accept it? And,
Yeah, true. That's actually, and it's very important, I suppose, even to younger lads who might be, getting upset that they're not, starting or getting the full 70 minutes or 60 minutes. There is a role for everyone in the team. I suppose you would agree with that, would you? And
with the way the game has gone the last few years, I think, like, to be honest, the way I had to break it down, and no one ever kind of told me or anything, like, but I prefer to finish out a game where the game's in the melting pot than starting the first 10 minutes where it's just over and back, like, so. Like, true. Players are going to be tired, so I need to know who I was coming on, who was going to be coming on for. You could see it if someone was tired. What's his legs like, or is that a fresh back after coming on as well? So, you have to tune in, like, and I had a good, as the years went on, I found it good that I had energy and time help say teammates out before the game rather than thinking about my own game, because I knew that it probably was going to be the second half. Like once I think I came on in the first half in the championship game, someone got injured, and of course I'd be tuned in, but I kind of just enjoy the first half, to be honest, and just watch surroundings and look at the game, and then once you go into half time, I suppose I'm tuned in for my own collective performance.
And you're I suppose, yeah, like you're saying, you're watching how you could impact the game when you came on. But I suppose the elephant in the room here, and some people obviously said it to you before, was did you plan to kick the ball away in the All-Ireland final in 14, or was it just rush of blood to the head?
I don't know, rush of blood to the head, I suppose. It was like the buddy there in Boston, Yank from Donegal. I told him when I went over to Donegal, he didn't know what to make of me, and I told him that I should have kicked it further. So I thought out to him.
We'll touch on then you went over to Donegal last year, but we'll touch on that in a few minutes. But we suppose then, look, you 2015, then Kerry were coming in as All-Ireland champions. What do you think of that season? I know I lost in the final again, and that's, I suppose, when Dublin started kind of laying down the marker going forward.
Yeah, that was a good campaign, to be fair, the league and the championship, and I suppose we cut loose against Kildare in the second half. We got 7 goals, and like looking back, it probably was it a performance too early. Like I know you can't stage where you're going to perform. Like we had a tough game then Tyrone, very miserable conditions, and we pulled through. Like we were up a few points and they came just won by 1 or 2, or we won by 4 maybe in the end. But like it was tough. And then just on the day, Mayo gave Dublin 2 massive games in the semi-finals, and Mayo probably should have got through it, and they didn't. And on the day, Dublin then, I suppose, with the condition and everything, they just got the better. They won by 3, but looking back at it, they hit the post. We might have had a chance at the end, but on the day, looking back, they probably did deserve it. and you can't take much away from it. We didn't perform on the day, and to be fair, they didn't perform up to their standards with the weather conditions, but they still created more chances, if that makes sense,
Yeah, I know what you mean. The weather was actually very bad in that final. Was that when the lights were turned on towards the end and it was just lashing rain? Is that the right one? Yeah. In 16 then, Dublin again lost in the semi-final. What was that season like for you? Can you remember that campaign?
16 had a good run. I think we got to the league final that year, and I think we lost to Dublin, and then the championship campaign. The usual, coming on, kicking a few points, whatever. And I think we did lead up to Clare. Came on against Clare. I think he kicked 3 points, and the group was in a good place. Like, and we thought we'd probably be able to give Dublin a go. And looking back, like Eamon had a nice set and play of a press, and I think it worked there. With maybe 10 minutes to go in the first half, we got 2 goals. Arnold Sullivan and Paul Ganey. So we were leading. Was it 5 points with 60 minutes to go? And just like, even though we know the last 20 minutes Dublin are just going to come, like they're just going to throw the kitchen sink, and they're very clinical in that period. So we just knew we had to be mentally tuned in that they're going to come, but we just needed to be ready. And I think out of all the finals and games, that was the biggest one that we suffered from, because we were there and they brought it back to the draw. We brought it home, and we kicked on with 3 points again, and they just cruised, and like those 6 minutes added on, and they beat us by 2. I'll never forget the McConnelly. We were down a point, and looking back, I thought Peter Crowley could have got a free on Kevin McMiniman, but look, the ref came out after and said it was a free, but at the time it wasn't, and they went up 2 points and they held out, and that just shows the champions and the class of that team.
And of course they went on then and they dominated for the next couple of years. But then on, I suppose, look, in 17 then Mayo in the semi-final, that was Andy Moran came on, didn't he? He scored towards the end. That year he won the All-Star that year.
2017 he was player of the year.
Player of the year, yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah. So that's the year he came. Not too sure, no. I think it was.
One of the years anyway, but in the semi-final we played him in a replay, and he was brilliant, to be fair. I was player of the year that year because he was down against Dublin, and that went to a replay as well. But the first day out, it was a weird game. I remember to put Aidan O'Shea full back on Kieran Donaghy, and it was a weird game. We were up 3, down 3, up 3, down 3. So, the second day they deserved it. They beat us well, so they probably deserved it, But yeah, to be honest, like it's the battles have been between probably ourselves, Dublin and Mayo in my career anyway. When it came down to the business end, like, and like, to be fair, if I'm being honest, Mayo probably got more money out of Dublin than we did on the big occasion.
Yeah.
A bit of unluckiness, like they gave away 2 own goals in one All Ireland final, like,
Yeah.
and then they gave away a penalty, like, so they could have been out the gap at 6 points there, but they did their own luck. Dublin had their own luck, and look, all the best of them.
Yeah, true. Yeah, definitely Mayo. There's definitely the curse must be true because they're just throwing it away, unfortunately. But look, in 2018, I suppose look, the things didn't really get going at all for Kerry. I didn't qualify at all in the Super 8 campaign. I think the game in Galway under lights with his lashing rain was icing on the cake as such. Then after that, look, there was new management in again, and there's new management in again. And look, I suppose after that, then you weren't part of the plans. But how again, with that setback, like you had a setback in 13, how did you tackle that, and how did you feel? How did you feel in that moment?
I suppose it caught me off guard. I suppose I'm still only 28, probably. I don't know what way they're looking at it. Have I been around too long or played a lot of football? I don't know. That question is for them. That I don't have the answer for that.
Yeah.
Personally, did I still think I have it or still there? Yeah. But since I'm out of the loop mentally, like physically, yeah, mentally, I don't know, would I be able to give it again? Like, I seen the outside of it now. Like, I gave it 9 years. There's a lot more to it. Like, I have a small fella at home. There's other things important in life. Of course, I still love it, and that's not to say if I got the chance again would I say no. But at the time now, like, I'm enjoying club football, going away for the summers, no pressure. What more do you want, like,
Yes, I know what you mean. And then I suppose you got the opportunity to try on a green and gold jersey again, in Boston. But what was it like trying on Donegal jersey over there? Or did you think about it too
I
much?
didn't really know until I got in the door. No, I knew that the kicking the ball off the tee was going to play a good one. So even before I met them, I nearly brought it up myself before I let them say it. Like, but no, they were good to me. Now, to be fair, good gang over there. I really enjoyed going over again for the summer. Luckily enough, we we won in the last 10 minutes. Thank God I've been on the side of one where we won rather than the few I've lost in the past. Like, but no, it was good. It was good. I'd advise anyone that young enough, or like if they were dropped off a panel, to go over and just recharge the batteries. You'll be well looked after. You tip away at work. You enjoy yourself, and you don't at the moment you don't miss much club football, because with the county league, I think I only missed 3 games in the summer. There's not much football in the summer, like, so. I think management that are kind of putting pressure on players to stay around just after college, because you're going to miss 3 games and championship's not 5 months away. I don't know. I think it's bullshit, really. Like, just leave them enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, the fellas who are saying it probably went away themselves at the time if their managers played before, which most managers have been involved in teams. So I don't know. That's the advice I'd give a young fella anyway.
Yeah, true. I suppose look, life is too short, and if you're given that opportunity, you should definitely take it. What was it like sharing the dressing room with Dermot Connolly?
He actually didn't get over. It was the year he didn't get over.
Oh, that the year he didn't get over? Yeah.
It was the year he didn't get over.
Was there a bit of excitement around? Before there was a lot of uncertainty at the time.
Yeah, so there was the flight I took, he was supposed to be on the same flight, and then I arrived to 20 messages saying he wasn't coming, and so I kind of, as rumours do, you can't believe 95% of stuff on WhatsApp. But so I just got a text off the manager and saying, look, there's going to be a baldy fella in the baggage area there, bring him along with you. 10 baldy fellas. I was like, I'm getting out of here. So I just went out anyway, and one of my friends picked me up in the car, and I had to go down to the Canton, it's called, to be the pitch where they play the games, and you have to sign over and transfer. And this fella just came up to me from Dublin, tipped me on the shoulder and said, I'm supposed to come with you or whatever. And I was like, fair enough, jump in the back there. And we were going, and one of my buddies who collected me, he wouldn't know much about football, like, and he even knew, like, my man got stopped and whatever. And I was like, I got a few messages, and my man in the back piped up saying, he's not coming. And I kind of looked back to him. I was like, how would you know? He goes, I'm actually his +1. so he was part of the package going
Oh,
over.
Jesus.
So he had to load off me anyway, so that kicked off, and we were great friends for the summer, and I keep in touch with him. But yeah, he was a big loss, and we were laughing away, but I wasn't laughing when I was signing over the sheep, and we were saying, he's not coming. They more or less said, the pressure's on you now. Like, then you better wake up on it.
You weren't long tuning in.
Shut him up then. No.
And I suppose then, had you a strong team then? Was there a lot of county players over there, apart from obviously Connolly not going over?
Yeah, we did. We had a lot of Donegal, say, past senior players that are still young, like maybe played the National League and then, was brought in for a championship campaign and just went away. We had one or two Donegal under 21s at the moment, like that were last year. And then from, I think it was midfield on, we had Ray Kennellan from Westmeath. He was over playing Aussie rules. We Shane Carty from Dublin. He won 2 All-Irelands with Dublin. He's from Vincent's. We had Kieran Murta from Roscommon. He was the captain of Roscommon to Connacht 2 years ago. We'd Gary Walsh from Laois. And we'd Mark Bradley for Tyrone, who was kind of forward the previous year against Dublin.
Jesus, so it's
we
pretty strong.
We were stacked. We were probably too stacked, to be honest. We all couldn't score.
Can happen. Look, I suppose then that comes up to I suppose looking back, at the moment now you can obviously reflect back in the last couple of years. Do you think that that trip over to Boston last year was beneficial for you?
Yeah, like it's only a few months ago, like, and unfortunately I was considering doing it again this year, like, but with the things that are in place at the moment, it's probably a no-go. So I wouldn't rule it out again, like, to be honest. Like, just at the moment, every fella individually can only do his own kind of work and tip away, like, but I know probably if in 5 years' time, looking back, it'll benefit me going away in 2018 again, I'm sure.
Definitely. I suppose they say travel broadens the horizons. And look, we'll finish it up now in a few minutes. But what advice would you give to younger players?
Advice on younger players, I suppose, like, I know it's probably cliche, practice, but like, realistically, it probably is the only thing you can do. Like, and I know I'm training there through Zoom or minor team, and we just do an old tabat or whatever. And when we finish the session, we maybe 5 minutes talk it out, how things and everything going. But like, I'd log most things weekly, like what I have to do and what I've to get. So I remember at the start of this lockdown, and I knew there was going to be a bit of time. So I just estimated maybe 4 months. There's 4 months that this is going to be game over, ball burst, can't do nothing. So I looked back at the last 2 years of what I actually did when I was in county and not in county. And in this 4 month period, if you did skill set or something every day to improve your own game, like, in that 4 months, it'd take you 2 years to do it when you're actually in normal circumstances. Like, you're training on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, you've only 2 days off. Are you going to rest? Probably, because you want to be fresh for the next one. But like, you have loads of time to rest now. You're more or less a professional player if you put in the effort here. Like, so in a 4 month calendar, you're going to get for 4 months 2 years work. So I'd be telling them take advantage of it. Like, someone else is probably doing it.
Yeah, true, exactly. I suppose if you don't do it yourself, someone else will do it. And I suppose again, like, dealing with adversity and setbacks, you'd obviously give a voice to young fellas. Look, just keep going and try not leave it get to you. I suppose would that be something you'd agree with, or?
Yeah, definitely. Like, adversity is massive nowadays, individually more than collectively. Like, because of course you're going out to perform for yourself and the team as well, but like, you're going to have adversity come, and I think no one has ever got to the highest top without dealing with some issues. Like, I know looking back at Crokes, like, Colm Cooper was probably, to me, the greatest ever. And like, when he did the cruciate, like, of course it's going to put you back in the age he was at. And probably in his latter years with Crokes, when he was his last year, probably when he was not being involved, that's probably hard for him to, just because of course he had adversity throughout his career, but if you look at how good he was, everything was up here, and then when it brings back down, it's hard to do it. And like, it's funny to see. Like when he would drop for Crokes, I was like, we take him now, but you can come on away in here. But everyone has it differently. Like Kieran Donaghy in 2014, he was gone. Like I remember going back in the car with him. He was like he's a pure team player. He was like most fellas would say, you know what, I'll just walk away. And he just came in after the Galway game when he got no run and just caused wreck around the place, just hitting fellas, catching ball. He went on to be an all-star, playing 2 games. That's up here. I think he had the Joe Bradley Stadium and the Fallen Star up in his door every morning. He had to pass it, like, and he just had it up there, like, and it is mindset. Like a lot of it is mindset, and I think the Dubs are very tuned in with it. And I just think like people be asking, like collectively, I think they're very good at the back. I think there's not much between the Kerrys, the Mayos, the Dublins at the back line individually, but just collectively they have it above everyone else. For some reason, I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose it comes with years of work and experience. But so I suppose, look, 1 or 2 quick questions. What would be your favourite meal to cook up?
My favourite meal.
Was you on the spot there now?
My favourite meal to cook up. My favourite meal to get a takeaway.
Both. Oh, go on.
Oh, pizza, I suppose, for takeaway, and cook up, I suppose, steak on the barbecue or something, maybe with sweet potato and veg, something like that.
Perfect. And what would you do to chill out nowadays? Obviously, because look, we're obviously, we can't really travel that far nowadays, and we spend a lot of time indoors with our family. What do you do to kind of chill out or get your bit of you time?
I suppose the gym, probably tip away at the gym most days. Get the session in and out. I try not to binge too much on the TV, like, because you can be stuck there for the day. I think, to be honest, and I know it's going back to it, I think throw in the headphones and go to the wall and kicking skill set, hand passing left and right. Like, you'll be amazed how many footballers can't hand pass to their left hand. Like, you'll be amazed. Just the small things that people take for granted, that you have a chance now to kick away. 20 minutes there listening to music and just tipping away. Like, over a month there, 2 months. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing, like, there's a few players with the club at minor level that aren't probably up to some of them, like, and they're putting in a bit of effort every day. And I know in 3 or 4 months' time, you'll say, geez, he couldn't kick his left leg there before, and now he can, So it does show that the skill set. Other than that, I'm working 2 days a week, and I'm work still printing stuff for the HSE, like, so I'm kept busy with the small fella too, so I don't have much time really to say him.
Energy-wise. So that's good, plenty to do. Look, I will wrap it up there, Barry John, and thanks very much for taking time out to come on and have a chat.
No matter what, anytime.
All right, perfect. We'll talk to you. Best of luck going forward. Thanks a million.
Sound.